Which one's better, Mono Quantum or Mono Imaginary? Now, they both have their benefits, right? Now, one of the main advantages to using a team with all of the same element is just you can break the enemies so much faster. So not only does that lead to you taking less damage because they're attacking you less, but then you also are dealing more damage because you no longer have to deal with that 0.9% multiplier when you fight an enemy with toughness, because they'll just take an even 1% whenever they take damage, right? And when it comes to the differences, obviously, between Entanglement and Imaginary, they're actually extremely similar. Now, Entanglement is going to do a little bit more, but they both are going to push the action value of the characters back, pushing their turn back, and then Entanglement's obviously going to deal up to 5 stacks of damage, but the Imprisonment is going to decrease their speed and push them back a little bit further than Entanglement. Now, when it comes to the teams that we're using, the first side is not quantum weak, obviously, so that is the benefit of using Silverwolf on a mono quantum team, is that you can implant the weakness on whoever. Now, for that side, we do have Jouei instead of Zila, and then we've got Sparkle, Silverwolf, and Fushuan. Now, unfortunately, I don't have Luocha, so the second team is going to be as mono imaginary as I can get. We've got Dr. Ratio, we've got Yukong, we've got Welt, and then we've got Huohuo. Now, the second team might actually perform a little bit better, just in terms of the fact that Huohuo is better than Luocha, so we are going to be able to get our ult a little bit faster and then also get a little bit of that attack increase, but at the end of the day, it shouldn't be too much of a difference, right? And let's get into the builds now, and let's see how both teams are structured. Jouei is going to be on Misha's Light Cone with 50% crit rate going up to 80, and then Sparkle's Light Cone puts it to 90, and then Fushuan puts her to 100. The only problem with this is that because this Light Cone only has 2 turns of crit, we're actually not going to be able to get 100% uptime on the crit because we're not using Huohuo or Tingyun. Now, Sparkle is going to be fast, and 162, and Silverwolf, I actually wish I could put Silverwolf faster than Sparkle. The problem is that I don't have the relics with the enough effect hit rate to make it work. So unfortunately, Silverwolf is going to have to be a little bit slower. Now, as for Fushuan, she's just going to be fast enough. Now, my Fushuan's not very good whatsoever. I haven't leveled her traces too much, and she's, somebody said that she's from Wish, and I tend to agree. So, the second team is going to be Ratio. So Ratio is going to have a relatively low crit rate, which does actually hurt us if we're not inside the Yukong ult. Although it's going to increase our damage a little bit. After the run, I did actually think that, you know what, maybe we actually should have bumped up our crit rate a little bit further. But Yukong is going to be just slightly faster than Ratio. And that is one benefit of the mono teams, is that you can run Penacony on everybody, so that 5% energy is usually better than a Keel, for example. Now, as for Welt is going to be our debuffer, and he's going to be faster than everybody, except for Huohuo, I guess. And I did not build him for damage, so he is just pure support. Now, his Eidolons obviously help, but it's just the second Eidolon for the energy gain. Now, as for Huohuo, she is going to be relatively chunky. I usually use a kind of a weaker Huohuo, actually, but she should be able to do the job wonderfully. So let's get into both sides of the MOC12, and let's see how Mono Quantum performs and Mono Imaginary. Sparkle was such a massive buff to this team because not only, obviously, is she going to be a Quantum Harmony, but the skill points just make you just flood in skill points. Although now with Robin coming out, I don't know how many of you guys who didn't get Sparkle are excited for Robin, but I'm excited for both. Now, we're going to turn the TV into happy mode, and we got Silverwolf. Nice. We're going to hold off, though, because we want the resolution to be on them. Now, unfortunately, I really actually do wish that Silverwolf was faster than Sparkle, because then we'd get more debuffs and then consistently get resolution on the enemy we want to hit. So Sparkle should be faster than Fushuan. Silverwolf should be faster than Sparkle, but what can you do? Speed RNG and relics is tough. Now here, we'll build up some stacks and then take down the fish a little bit. Now, unfortunately, because we don't have the ult yet, right, the crit rate's really bad. So we'll just get another debuff. Now, I did actually, there's a couple misplays overall, because when I'm not zero cycling, I don't really play optimally, but the decreased toughness on that enemy did actually bring down the damage of Jouei's ult just slightly, because you want it to deal maximum toughness to get that maximum extra damage. Perfect, so the fish dies, and now unfortunately the MOC buff obviously took it out of the happy mode, so it got into angry mode. Maybe we could have prevented that somehow, but, you know, in case this happens to you, this is a good example of what happens when your energy gets sapped. Now here, we are going to try to get rid of the fish, since there's no quantum weakness right now, because they're broken and the automatron is, or aromaton. I've been calling it automatron the whole time. Arumaton. Build up another stack, and this damage is actually pretty good with Sparkle, giving that crit damage boost until the beginning of the turn. So if you do trigger the follow-ups, it is a very, very nice synergy there. And we did apply the defense shred on the... actually, did we? No, I think that was just the resolution. I wonder if our effect hit rate isn't high enough. I think it is, though, because even though my limit traces on Silverwolf are all at 8, I do believe I built my effect hit rate a little bit higher than 96 to make up for it. Boom. I think we missed the crit there, but whatever. So, because we missed the crit, we'll just ult to not have to take an extra cycle, even though we're not going to be using this ult for the next wave, unfortunately. So two cycles for the first side. Yeah, so Silverwolf really needs to be faster than Sparkle. I don't know what I was doing here. Honestly, I should have just swapped it and made Sparkle less than 160. Now here we're going to put it on Japard, because if it does hit Silverwolf, that's okay. And because Japard isn't going to go yet, then we don't have to worry about it losing the resolution debuff. The same idea here. So, you know, if we get hit, as you can see right there, we'll just build up a little more energy. And now, once again, without Run Mei though, the stack generation on Jui is not nearly as high. Because with Run Mei, one ult will just get you 6 stacks instead of 4 stacks. And the skill will deal 4 stacks instead of, or get 4 stacks instead of 2 stacks. Unless you have Quantum on all 3 sides, because then it's 6 stacks. I do believe the next MOC is going to finally have a Quantum side. I think it's MOC 11, the first side. Although more importantly, I'm excited for Sam on MOC 12, second side. Because he is now going to have, instead of 1.4 million HP, 1.6.5 million HP or something like that. So that's going to be crazy fun to go against level 95 Sam. Now here we'll just mainly get energy for Silverwolf, even though we are going to decrease the Jui value just slightly. And now, once again, a nice little swipe, and it's pretty much dead. So just one more attack from Jui should do the trick, and the entanglement does deal a good amount of damage there. And I'm going to let her do a twin dagger strike. Okay, nice. Let's get into the quantum side, or the imaginary side, rather. So we're going to start off with a statue, put up Welt's in prison. Love Welt's technique so much. Although it did just effect res it. I did try to build Welt with a good amount of effect hit rate. The problem is I couldn't build him with a ton of speed and effect hit rate at the same time, so he does miss a couple of procs. Now here we focus on that enemy just so we can get 1 extra stack, because our crit rate is low, so we want to build up the crit rate as fast as possible. And then we also want to wait on Welt's ult, because when you use Yukong to buff Ratio, you can actually buff his skill, follow-up, ult, and then both follow-ups with Yukong's 2 turns of ults. So as you can see right now, we have 2 turns of buffs. So we're going to skill. The follow-up is going to give us enough energy for the ult. The ult is going to be buffed. So that's 3 attacks buffed. And then Welt is going to trigger the first chalk. And then Huohuo on the first attack is going to trigger the final chalk. Perfect. So we're fully buffed on Ratio there. So for one support, I mean, I think that's pretty good damage, just purely being buffed by Yukong. And obviously the defense shred and vulnerability from Welt too, but those values aren't as high. Beautiful. Now hopefully the enemy with the healing stab spear thing does die. So because it didn't die, we're just going to use Yukong's ult just to kill it because it's going to heal. So this is not an optimal play, but it just makes it so we don't have to deal with him healing himself and having to deal more damage. So we lost the ult, but we're still going to be able to do enough damage for this side. We're just not going to have the ult immediately up for the next wave, which could be an improvement. You'd have to buff up ratio just a tiny bit. Perfect. So now we're going to wait, because we do want to use the ults on Yukong's buff, obviously. So same idea as the first time. Basic, basic again. Then we'll skill. Now, Yukong is on Bronya's Light Cone, so we do get a damage boost for the ult, the skill, and the first follow-up. And if we trigger a follow-up on Ratio's turn, then he'll actually keep that 30% damage buff from Bronya's Light Cone. That's why I love using Bronya's Light Cone on Yukong, because she really needs the energy regen. And when you do it like this, you can manipulate it, so you do get a couple extra benefits from that 30% damage bonus. Although, actually, maybe the one I used was superimposed, I don't remember. So Yukong is going to get taken, so now we do have to kill the meme relatively fast because we're not going to be benefiting from too many buffs here. Now hopefully the buff can take out most of it. That should be enough to take out the rest of it without the buffs from Yukong. But because the distribution of drops did fall, then we're not missing out because these two attacks don't do any damage, so we might as well just get Yukong back. And because once it dies, we are going to get all of our ults back, we might as well take advantage of that. And just waste all of our ults now, so when we get them back, we can use them all again. And if it doesn't die to the follow-up, it's actually good. So this is why I basic, because I wanted to keep one stack of the follow-up for the next attack, or for the next wave, rather. So if it died there, then we wouldn't be able to drop the ult twice. So now, unfortunately it's at 2%, right? But, or 1% now. So we did waste one chalk, but now we still have one chalk extra. So what we'll do is on Yukong's turn, we'll actually pop her ult, which is going to not only trigger the last chalk and allow us to ult again, but it is going to buff up the chalk before it hits. Now that is obviously the benefit of E6 Yukong because she gets the roaring bowstrings on the ult. And now the second character that we use in Acheron is going to get imprisoned, so it's like, which one do we want? Do we want Huohuo to get taken, or do we want Welt to get taken? I want Huohuo to get taken just because Welt has the AoE, so we can actually get our characters back faster. And it is going to push it back further also, the meme. And now we'll buff him with the damage percent. And Welt will trigger it again. Beautiful chalk. And once more. All the debuffs from Welt really do help the 100% hit chance. And then still buffed from Yukong's ult once again. Beautiful. And now, if we can actually slow him, which we did, now Ratio did get pushed in front of the meme. So if we can take it out right now, then we won't have to worry about anybody getting taken. So that is just one of the benefits of Welt's pushback and his speed debuffs. Beautiful. So, that was the end of the run. 21 cycles is not bad for 2 teams with healers and wealth as a sustain. So if you guys enjoyed the video, let me know. If you guys have any suggestions about maybe some other, mono teams. I think tomorrow I might actually do mono ice versus mono wind, which is kind of weird, but the first team, in my opinion, is kind of broken because it's, I'll just give you a little sneak peek, right? It's going to be Jingliu, Ranmei, Pela, and Misha as not only a sustain, but also as a debuffer. Because if you have his Eidolon with a defense shred, he's actually kind of broken with Pela as well. So that's going to be something to look forward to tomorrow. So, like the video, comment, and subscribe. Thanks for watching. Adios.